I am the adjutant of Post 252 in Seminole, Florida. I am also being mentored by Beverly to hopefully, in a 2 to 3 year plan, take her position. So you guys will be seeing a lot of me.
Yeah.
Bless you, darling.
Yes. Good luck.
All right, so I want to remind everybody that on the website, under programs, you pick the American Legion Riders program, and all of this stuff is available under resources. So you don't have to race to scribble everything down, because the complete slideshow, the spreadsheet I'm going to show you, everything is available. So, all right, reporting and chapter of the year. They tie in together, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. But your officer reporting, well, let's start with the requirements. You report your miles, your volunteer hours, your cash donations. And this is cash donations from your chapter to a charity. This is not, you went on a poker run and took $10 out of your pocket and bought 50/50 tickets. This is your chapter made a donation to Special Olympics or to the Legacy Fund. That's what the cash donations are. They're not, you bought raffle tickets or you paid entry fee in a poker run, unless the chapter is paying for that. Department of Florida officer reporting is due by convention. So you should have had your elections and decide who your officers are going to be for the next year before you get to convention. End of year reporting is due by May 31st. I don't give my group that long because it's due to the post by May 1st. Your post commander or post adjutant has to fill out what's called a CPR report. And the exact same information that you're reporting for the riders, they need to report on their CPR. What miles and hours are reportable? This is a really gray area. But if you go to meetings, post activities, even if it's sponsored by the SAL or the auxiliary, state-sponsored rides like the round robin, the merry-go-round, the unity ride, awareness rides, let's say you guys have your meeting and you're gonna go visit another post after your meeting and take an awareness ride. Those miles count. Community events and parades, that's self-explanatory. The question has come up, do I have to be wearing my colors? Technically, no. Okay, so let's say your riders group has a spaghetti dinner and the guy cooking says, I need more spaghetti noodles. I'm gonna leave my 9 to 5 job when I'm done and I'm gonna run to the grocery store, I'm gonna get those spaghetti noodles and I'm gonna take them to the post. Do I have my vest with me? If I'm wearing a business suit? No, but I can still count it because I was on post business. I was on chapter business. Okay? We're so under-reporting that for stuff like that, report it. Okay, this is, the SAL is a program of the Legion, as are we. So if you're reporting your hours to the SAL, you cannot report them to the riders. What I suggest you doing is say, in a month you put in 20 hours, report 10 to the SAL, report 10 to the riders. Even split. Now auxiliary members, we have a loophole. We can report both places, all of them, because the auxiliary is its own separate entity. Legionnaires, same rules as SAL.
Yeah, see, we just had our SAL guy put out in a newsletter that we could do both.
By department says you can't.
I know, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's in our monthly newsletter that we should be taking the SAL hours and our hours twice.
Yeah,
So now
You're not
I gotta
supposed
go
to
back
double
and tell
dip like
them,
that,
he don't know what he's
except for the
talking about.
auxiliary.
and our auxiliary folks say you cannot.
But the auxiliary you can, but SAL you
Yeah.
can't.
No, but the auxiliary is telling us we cannot.
Because they're being selfish and they want all your hours. All right, mileage log with monthly, quarterly, and year totals. There was a class given by you guys on the electronic way to track it on your phone. I'm old school, I'm a whiz at Excel, I still use the old Excel spreadsheet.
This one dumps right into the
Yes.
spreadsheet.
It's easy, it's easy, makes it easier on whoever's tracking it. so I can put in front of his face, hey, it said right here, you were wrong. Huh? Oh, I'll go on the website, find it. It's just like, really? He literally, he came up to me last month and was telling me, oh, this is, I think it's right here. Yes, it is, we just had a meeting, and he put it in our newsletter. This month's newsletter, he says,
The monthly tracking volunteer spreadsheet, it auto-populates. I can't get it to come up, I'm sorry. I'm not super tech savvy. And there's a tab for each month. So you can fill in each month down in the part where it's white. You'll see a section at the top where it's green. What you fill in down below auto-populates up to the green section. Okay? You can fill in date, event, comments, and category. You have to choose from the drop-down menu. There's Americanism, Children and Youth, all the other programs that you are. If you're not sure where to put miles and hours for something, put it under awareness. That's kind of a blanket all if it doesn't technically fall in any of the other categories. And the spreadsheet is available on the website to download and use. And it will help you with your year-end reporting because each tab for each month automatically pulls to a quarter. Each of the quarterly pages automatically pull to the year-end page. So all you're gonna have to do is pull up the spreadsheet to fill out your year-end report. Easy peasy. You're not going back through a bunch of pieces of paper and all that kind of thing. And I'll pull it up on my tablet if anybody wants to look at it since I can't get it up on.
Hey Sue, do you fill out ours on an Excel spreadsheet when they come in?
From the form on your phone?
From our,
Yeah, it dumps right into
yeah,
Excel.
yeah, instantly. It's the easiest way to do it.
Okay, so Sue gave the class on the alternate reporting methods on the phone. It's whatever works best for you and your group. Okay, cash donations. You get that information from your finance officer. And they should be giving it to the adjutant every month at the meeting to attach to the minutes. The spreadsheet I was talking about calculates donations in kind, and that's what your hours and your miles are worth. Those do not get reported. That is something that they use on the state and the national level to give us leverage with Congress. All right, officer reporting, which is due by convention. Super simple, completely simplified it. You don't have to have everybody's information. All you have to do is report your director and your assistant director and their email addresses, their contact information. And this is super duper important because this is how Beverly lets the area and district chairman know who their directors are so that they know how to contact them. It also asks you for when your meeting is. So second Sunday at 10:30. It takes less than 2 minutes to fill this out. And Beverly told me that out of 137 chapters, only 42 have done this. So they're wondering why they don't get information on what's going on because you haven't filled this out. This is how they disperse the information. End of year reporting. Again, they've made it super simple. If you go with your spreadsheet that auto-populates from the app or the phone, or you use the spreadsheet like I do without the app or the phone, all that information is there to fill out your end of year reporting. And it's just yes or no questions. Part of the reason the end of year reporting is now more important is because that's how we determine chapter of the year. Does anybody know how chapter of the year used to be determined?
Narrative.
Narrative. You had to write a narrative, and it was subjective. Do you know the last time they did this, how many narratives were turned in?
4.
1. So automatically that post got chapter of the year because they were the only ones to turn one in. All right, so the CPR is the report that your post commander and your post adjutant fill out. They have to know the same thing that we have to know for our end of year reporting. They have to, how many Legionnaires are your riders? How many auxiliary do you have in your riders group? How many SAL? Miles, cash donations. And your end of year report and what you turn into your commander for the CPR should match. If there's a vast discrepancy at department, they're gonna find it. And they're gonna go, call you up and go, what's going on? All right, Chapter of the Year award has changed. It's now based on a point system, based on what you participated in, if you reported, if you have all your documents turned in. And I'm gonna show you, okay, my chapter has 15 people and Lady Lake has 600. How am I ever gonna compete with that? Well, here's how. It's now a weighted point value system. So if you only have 12 people, but 8 of them participate in everything, and Lady Lake has 600, and they only have 10 participate in everything, the points are weighted out evenly. So you get points for attending Summit, participating in Round Robin, Unity Rob, State Rally, Convention, Fall Conference, and Merry-Go-Round. Each of those items is worth 5 points. Everything is worth 5 points per person. Okay, so you do a merry-go-round with your group and you got 12 of them going, that's 5 times 12.
Same thing with Summit, the number of people from your chapter that came to Summit.
Yep, so we had 6 from my chapter that came, so we got 30 points. Bam. So, number of riders at event times the weight of the event, which is 5 points for everything, equals the score for the event. Reporting is worth $5, 5 points. Your miles are worth 5 points. Hours, 5 points. Cash donations, 5 points. Then, once we get that big total of all those 5 points and how many you've had participate, we divide it by your number of members. Also, a reason end of year reporting is important because that's how we know how many members you have. So that equals your chapter score. So like I was talking, the Lady Lake has 600, they only had 10 participate. There's still, those 10 people are still getting divided their points by 600. So as you can see on this spreadsheet, you look at this smaller chapter, all right, so they had 6 people at Summit, 10 people at the state rally, all the things that they did and earned their points, out, miles, hours, cash donations, divided by their number of members, gave them 1589. Chapter 1, 2, 4 did a little bit more, but they had 100 members. So that was a bigger number to divide it by. They only got 1154. So the way that they set this up is that even the little chapters that may only have 10 or 12 people still can win. Because everything's weighted and then divided by your membership number. All right, so all the classes, as you've seen, they kind of intertwine and tie together. This is why the chapter of the year is done this way now. So we can increase participation, you can, multiple awards. They're talking about drilling down chapter of the year coming in the following year so that there might be a chapter of the year, but then there could be an area chapter of the year or a district chapter of the year. So it's an incentive to attend the events, to participate in rides, to do your reporting. And again, we're so underreported. 47 out of 130 some chapters have only reported. Super important. Good question.
How do you have our end of reporting in May 31st and the post is May 1st? There's a whole month there that you have a whole bunch of hours and miles that are changed.
Put them on your next year.
So why don't we change ours to
May 1st.
April 30th?
In my chapter, as the adjutant who does that, I cut them off at the same time. At May 1st, anything you report to me after May 1st is going on next year.
Okay.
It makes my life easier and I can get everything done and ready to go.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, because I wondered about that.
Yeah.
Because I gave,
Yeah,
I gave
I
my
take-
commander one number, but then I gave my district, I added in that last
Yeah.
month.
Again, for the past 5 years since I've been doing it, I just roll it over into the next calendar year.
Next year.
So that also on the time, like coming here, it's not just at 8 hours per day, it's like when you,
Got
When
here,
you left your house till you
Yeah.
get back to your house.
and the same thing with the miles, if you're just tracking miles from your house to here, but you visited a post while you're here, that also counts because that's all part of the whole.
Yep, absolutely.
Every mile, put them on back line here.
I'm gonna fly out to Colorado and visit my best friend from high school, who's also a Legion rider out there. Can I count my hours
No,
and my miles? I
from,
could?
from her house to a post, but not from here to Colorado.
Correct, correct. When I'm there, if I'm with her at her house and we're gonna go to her post and hang out, I can count that mileage and those hours. And I don't have to be wearing this if I don't want to.
If we work with other charities and not under the Legion.
Yes,
Those all count.
yes.
Can count.
Yeah. Cool.
And again, they've super duper simplified this. When you go out there to do your reporting, bing, bang, boom, answering yes or no questions and filling in some numbers. It's not this big cumbersome thing like it used to be. And you don't even have to break it down. You used to have to break it down. You have to say, we did 100 hours for Americanism and 45 hours for children and youth. You know, it's all together. Just lump it all together. Goes along with merry-go-round and round robin reporting and registration. You used to have to go in there and plug in everybody's name and everybody's email address. Now you can register as a group. So let's say you're post adjutant, you guys are gonna do a merry-go-round, your post adjutant can go in and go, I'm registering Joe Blow, Jim Posey, John Bastian, and Rita Bowens. Boom. You don't have to have everybody's information and recreate it every single time. They've also done that for the in-state unity ride. You can register as a group. They've tried to simplify everything.
Yeah, the other class that I was just in, it was saying that it makes it easier because instead of doing individual, you gotta keep charging for that $5 in there. You can do them as a group once they collect all the money. They can just charge the whole total on just that one
Time, yeah.
One time.
Every single person, it was hitting your credit card for $5, $5. Now, if you register as a group, it's just gonna hit the credit card for however many people you register. One transaction. Yes.
When I'm planning at home, working on official business, like getting ready for meetings, something like that, those hours also count.
Absolutely, absolutely. I count my hours when I'm typing my minutes, when I'm putting together flyers for events we have coming up, I count all those hours.
Does it take the flight?
If you are doing rider's business or auxiliary business, since we can double dip on them. Another thing to think about is your membership and your meetings. Don't forget to include those. So what we've done is we have an average. We know some folks live 15 miles away from the post and some folks live a mile. So I take whoever attends the meeting, I had 10 people attending, they all get 5 miles and they all get 1 hour. Bam, some more instant time and hours. But just take an average, figure out kind of where your folks live, what's the average of how far they all live, and use that as your number to report your meetings.
No, they all do it on their phone.
It's supposed to.
Yeah, they're supposed to.
They sign in. No miles.
I don't care how they do it.
Yeah.
They can give me a little scrap of paper that says, Ted and Carmen went on Jim Burgess' poker run, 4 hours, 150 miles. I'm fine with that, but give it to me. And that seems to be one of the biggest problems is getting your riders to turn that in.
Oh, yeah.
But you can look at who signed in for your meeting. When you're at your auxiliary meeting, look around and see how many other rider leaders are there and maybe jot down their names in case they don't report it. Same thing for SAL or Legion meetings. Well, you can't count those. And goes back to another thing. We wouldn't be riders if we weren't part of one of the pillars. So Sherry says it too, at least once a quarter, try to attend your family's meeting. Hopefully more, but at least once a quarter. Because if you weren't an auxiliary member or you weren't a Legionnaire, you couldn't be a rider. that was another question that came up in another class. Let's say my buddy in the Marine Corps League is going on the ride with us. I can't count his hours and his miles. He's welcome to ride with us if he signs the waiver, but I can't count him.
Only the money.
So are you saying then, I'm an auxiliary member, so time, I can report from my house to my auxiliary meeting
Yes.
and then to the riders too?
Yep.
Yes.
Ah,
Auxiliary has the benefit of being able to double dip. Is that a phone?
Who's phone?
$5?
And that's when after I went to them, I went to Bernie. She said, yeah, you can. And then,
How many of you, your writers group have supporters?
Who's phone?
A few, okay. Yeah, your supporters' time counts, even if they're in their cage. Their time and their miles count.
That's $15.
What if,
Keep on, buddy, you're just racking them up.
Leisure. When she's there working?
Chapter business.
Chapter business, gotcha. Hey, we're drinking with her.
Make sure you talk business.
I work 10 hours, but we're volunteers.
Okay,
Count that?
yes,
Okay, cause I've been counting, that's why I asked.
yes. If you are a volunteer bartender and do not get paid except for your tips, then you can report it. But if your bartender is on payroll, she can't report it. Yes,
I have a question. Say my husband and I take out on a road trip across the country on our motorcycle. And every day we stop at maybe 2 or 3 American Legion posts.
count it.
So all those hours and miles count. Thank you.
You are doing chapter business
Yep.
because you are the 60-mile-an-hour billboard for the riders, and you're visiting other posts. And you know what? It doesn't just have to be legions. It can be veterans organizations, VFW, AMVETS, Army, Navy, but no animals, as I like to say. No moose, no eagles, no elks. Llama's a whole different story because that's a veterans organization, but I used to say no animals. Animal visits don't count.
is there a certain number of posts a day you would have to visit?
At least one,
Just one.
just one.
And it's the same like we do here, the minute we leave, all day, every day, 24 hours.
Yep. Because you are here doing chapter business.
If we do a vacation that day, we're going post.
If you are visiting other posts, absolutely.
So, in other words, we go to Maggie Valley.
But as he said, I'm flying to Colorado to see my best friend from high school. I can't count all those miles and hours I spent in the air getting there. But once I'm there, if we're going around visit another post, I can count them all.
Take a poker run flyer, you're delivering it. Then it counts because it's rider business.
If you're a supporter, you count their miles.
Absolutely. Yep.
What are the requirements for a supporter?
So,
It depends on your chapter.
Maggie Valley, Colorado.
And that is in the new standing rules. You can decide whether you have supporters or not, and whether you want to give them a vote or not.
Maggie Valley.
There is, in the SOP right now, it says they must wear a patch that says supporter. Okay?
Wow.
It's going to come up at the general session. I am on board with Sherry about this. Why should we tag them like that? They could be some of our best volunteers. They're one of us. They're a rider. Why should they have to wear a patch that says supporter? So it's gonna come up in general meeting, and I'm sharing my thoughts with you on how I feel about it. That, we're trying to stay as far away from being an MC as possible, and that's almost like MC's tagging
Yes.
probies and
Yes.
stuff. So I don't think it's right. Sherry Korn doesn't think it's right. So, but it's up to your chapter to decide whether you want to have supporters and whether or not you want to give them a vote at this point. The patch is still required. Hopefully, it'll change at today's general session.
Our supporters don't wear vests, they don't ride, so why do they have to have a patch? I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, so.
You know, some of them wanna have the vest and wear the vest.
Yeah, like Richard Jordan.
I'm in favor of grandfathering,
Yeah, he was grandfathered in, yeah.
okay? And I'm also in favor of your support, you joining in this.
Own your license, register.
That's what we did.
Again,
On
it's
there.
your standing rules, your chapter, you can choose to allow people to join
I
us.
mean, we let them share, we let them.
You don't have to.
So now we're making them.
We don't.
Now, it's a whole different story if somebody's aged out or has a medical reason why they can't ride. They had a motorcycle endorsement at one point in time, but they just can't physically do it anymore. They can still be a full-fledged rider. If he can prove somehow he used to have a license, he can be a full-fledged rider.
So what about riders that don't have bikes, but their spouses do?
And they have amended that now. It doesn't just have to be a spouse. It can be a life partner, a common law marriage, and a spouse.
And they could be considered.
They can be considered full-fledged members.
What is the length of time for a longtime partner? Is it like 6 months? 18 months? Is it?
I actually don't know the answer to that. I'll have to get clarification on it.
Is it common law 90 days?
7 years is common law marriage, but
An easy answer to that is, if they're a long time, they're gonna have each other's name on the insurance policy of the bike they're riding on, so they are covered.
that's a very good point. He brought up a good point. If they're life partners, or, you know,
Whatever.
long-term relationship or whatever, they should be on each other's insurance policy already. So that's kind of a way to tell if they're linked together. Yes, ma'am.
On that note, you said they amended that to life partners and everything. What about sons and daughters? Because my daughter's auxiliary and she's a rider, she's listed as a passenger because she rides with me. I mean,
If there is not officially a junior, well, they're calling it future rider,
she's 20, she's an adult, but she rides with me.
is she on your insurance?
Yes.
Does she live in your household? Then she can be a member. That's how I would look at it. It is coming, it's not ready yet, but there is going to be, like the juniors program for the SAL and the Legion and the auxiliary, there's gonna be a juniors program for us.
Oh, wow.
And it's coming. Probably by the time we get to convention, there'll be more information out, but it's coming. And they're called Future Riders, and they already make patches for them. You can buy them at Flag and Emblem, but there's gonna be a real thing. It's not just gonna be, oh, we're gonna thank this kid because he volunteered at our picnic. It's gonna be real requirements and stuff they can do. And once that all gets established, guess what? We can include all that in our reporting. All right. Don't forget to take your survey after Summit. Beverly was gonna get the QR codes posted today. So you just scan in the QR code on your phone, it'll take you right to the survey. Tell us what you liked, tell us what you didn't like, tell us maybe a class we didn't offer that you thought we should. Because this is how we'll make next year's summit better. Thanks, everybody.